We're trying to warp your perception of technology through Hollywood.
They're back.
Look out for Charlie.
I'm going to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head.
Okay, I've got a lot of little things that I want to talk about, but before I do that, let me mention that I've been going around, and it's very rare that I get to do this. I was actually searching on the internet. I've been really busy. I haven't even checked my email in a long time. So if anybody hasn't heard from me or whatever, I have not checked it at all. And that's bad, but it's just the way it is. I'm really busy. Anyway, I was able to search tonight and look around. You know, I had a few minutes to really look, and been finding more and more of my information being skewed with absolute bullshit, and it's being done intentionally. For example, people will put out like one of my videos, they'll post it somewhere, and then they'll start commenting about how people have microchips in their ears. Right? It's the antithesis of what I talk about in my videos. They skew the information, and it's being done intentionally, totally intentionally. And I need to get on Twitter to fix some of that. So if you can donate, I usually don't do this, but if you can donate so I can get up on Twitter, start fixing this shit. It's crazy. And it's not just Twitter, but one of the places where they are doing it is Twitter, and I want to fix that information so that it actually gets out to people and doesn't just sit there hidden. So if you can donate, I'd really appreciate it. Moving on, I want to say that Think Like a Cop is a channel. I think his channel on YouTube is Good Luck America, something like that. And I watch it, you know, once in a while. If I got some time, I'll just see what he's putting up. And it's, you know, he was a cop before. You know, if they do something good, he'll call it. If they do something bad, he'll call it. And that's rare to find. It makes me nervous saying this because every time I mention somebody and say something nice about people, they always fucking say something weird back. You know, something just totally off the wall and fucked up. And then I can't watch their channel. So I'm like, you know, the few times that I've said something, the person turns around and says something totally fucked up. So I'm going to try this and say something nice. He's been coming around to these ideas of what's going on. And I don't know if he's always been like that, but he's just now starting to really talk about it quite a bit. And it's interesting. It's cool to see somebody that's older than I am and really getting hip to what's going on, you know, and not staying a villager. Speaking of police, I was watching some channels. You end up going down a rabbit hole, you know, checking out video to video to video. Well, I found this anti guy, you know, and before I get into this, a lot of these auditors out there, they're totally annoying to me. Some of the people that do it right. The people that do it wrong annoy the shit out of me. But should they be able to do it? Yeah. But I found this channel of this guy really dogging into these people, right? It's like an anti-channel, and he dedicates the entire channel to doing that. Total operation, right? So it took me all of like a half an hour to figure out, you know, who he was, what he was doing, how he was doing it. The more I looked into him, you know, this guy is making fun of people saying, you know, get out of your parents' basement, shit like that. He lives at his mom and dad's house and makes videos from there. And I just thought that was funny as hell. It interested me because the things that I was hearing him say and all the comments were just like the comments that I get on my channel, just geared towards these auditors. They were the same words. It was like hearing the same person talking, right? And I found that really interesting and wanted to start looking into this a little further, right? And then the more I dug on this guy, the more I found out that he was just a guy in his parents' basement running an op. He probably got caught doing something and is now working it off by reading from a script, you know, attacking these people. But yeah, he's a basement dweller at his parents' house, and that's what he does. No one knows it yet. I'm not going to mention who it is, but when the time comes, I'll make a whole video about it. And more of these out there are deep fakes. That you can tell that they're deep fakes. There's a difference between the camera when you see these deep fakes that are up close of a face. They always have that, you know, when you read about old movies and like Shirley Temple, they'd put gauze in front of her, in front of the camera to give it that hazy look, you know. They kind of have that going on. It's very weird. Very weird. And they all popped up between, you know, 2019 and now. But, you know, annoying as some of them are, these audit channels absolutely have the right to exist. They have the right to exist. They have the right to do what they do, whether you like it or not. You know, and these people out there are saying, shut them down, shut them down. These people need to be stopped. They need to be put in jail. Like all this crazy shit. It's extremism. And they're always trying to polarize you from one side to the other. That brings me to something else. I was talking to somebody about a kind of a documentary that we were watching on a religious show. And it was a smear documentary about these people who followed this religion. And the dude was a total kook. I'm going to tell you that right now. Flat out. Total kook. But when I started talking negatively about the people making the documentary and what they were saying, the person that I was watching it with went, whoa, 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 that dude's, there's something wrong with that guy. It's weird how they read it. When I said something about the people making this documentary, it immediately went over to attacking the guy like he deserves it. And I was like, whoa, 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 you are misreading what I'm saying entirely. It's like the pendulum swings and they can't compute. They get upset. That's television thinking. Because what I was trying to explain to him was, the dude may have been a kook, but the people that make these documentaries are far, far worse. Far worse. And they are using that as fodder to weaponize the information and then turn you into a radical by watching it. So then you believe that these people need to be taken out and we need preemptive policing, right? That kind of shit. That's what it's for. That's what they're trying to do, is steer you in that direction. And some of these people are pretty intelligent and they still fall for this because their heads have been so mediated. The people that make these documentaries are sickos, and they are just as sick as the people that they're making the documentary about. And then they're pushing something else. They're pushing this preemptive policing. They're pushing this system that they want in place with that as fodder. That's what they do. And people need to be aware of that, man. It's scary how many people will watch this information and take it in, and they don't think about who is giving them the rest of the information. It's all fodder to show you something through a particular lens. So they'll attack Christianity and then attack outright loonies that are following these religions, and then use it as fodder to sell you preemptive policing, to sell you, you know, red flag laws, to sell you all this crazy shit. And that's really scary. And now that brings me to something else, since we're talking about Christianity and all that. I've been dealing with this on my channel for a long, long time. And I've been seeing this more and more, where these operators get out there and either post, and now they're talking about it a lot. They're talking about Christ. Well, I'm doing this with Christ. I'm doing this with that. People need to be very, very careful and watch for this shit. It's pretense. It's pretense for them to do really un-Christ-like things because they are operators. When you're using Christianity as a pretense and you're giving out fake information and you're saying, well, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. And you keep saying that, there's something wrong. Take the Christianity out of it. Is that person doing something good, bad, or are they selling fear? Are they selling wrong information? Are they selling any of these corrupt, fucked up ideas? Are they taking somebody else's information, marrying it to something else and skewing it intentionally to sell you bullshit? Do not trust people just because they say, I'm a Christian. You know, that is totally bad news. Think about the people like Jerry Falwell and all these different people that have used that over the years to do evil, evil shit. So When someone is online saying, I'm a Christian, and then they go on, you'll see this in like the quote unquote community of people that talk about electronic weapons. And then you'll have people saying in the comments, all you have to do is pray to Jesus and it'll go away. Or they can't touch you if you have the armor of God. Then why are you making videos saying that you're being attacked with it? You wouldn't even know you were being attacked with it. Do you understand what I'm saying? It makes no sense what they're talking about. Okay, I'm being attacked with these electronic weapons, and they're posting on someone's channel that if you believe in Christ, they can't touch you. You wouldn't even know it was happening to you if that was true. So there's just a blinding hypocrisy going on, and they're marrying in lies, lots of lies, with their information, selling you fear. It can never go away. You'll never get out. You know, all this crazy shit, telling you that you got a chip in your ear. It's like, fuck off, man. They are totally fucking with people. You know, it's like the people that were taking my information and saying that I was telling people that the sound that I have documented over the years rides on the wind. It doesn't ride on the wind, it rides on sound. But they intentionally do that. That's not an accident. They do that to misrepresent it so that it sounds loony. There are some really, really bad people that are out there using Christianity as a front, not just in comments, but in videos, showing up out of nowhere with Christianity as their pretense in Christ, right? People need to be very aware of this, or else they're going to get duped. You know, I've watched people in real time, watching them write comments, delete comments, right? I do this a lot when I have the free time. Sometimes I'll watch it happen. And I watch this user write this very, very unhinged comment. And that's 99% of the crazy and unhinged comments that you see online are meant to sound crazy and unhinged, and they're written by these fucking online moles. They wrote this unhinged Christian comment that just sounded absolutely insane, then deleted it, then wrote another comment that was totally different, without any Christianity in it at all, and lots of swearing and lots of other shit, then deleted that, and then wrote another comment that was completely unhinged in another way. I've documented this over and over. I have videos on it, but I watched this one recently, and it's just amazing. You have all these disinfos, these shills, these people out there, and they're using this Christianity thing as a shield. Especially Christians out there, you guys need to be very aware that this is going on. There are channel operators out there that are absolutely up to no good, selling fear, marrying ideas, and using Christianity as a front in Christ, right? I accidentally saw this while I was poking around, and this totally amazed me. This is White Dudes for Kamala, and they're burning their Trump flag. Now, if you don't know me, I am not right-wing or left-wing, and I don't believe in that. I don't believe in pro wrestling either. But they burn their flag. There are 13,000 comments on this, right? And about 12,999 of them are literally bots talking shit. We're bringing the country together, right? These people are out to divide you, not bring people together. That's why the country is so divided. And it shows them burning a flag of some politician and flipping it off and all this shit. And the people are saying we're bringing the country together in the comments. No, that's dividing people. It's like everybody has gotten so dumb that they literally cannot process just basic common sense thinking. It's so bizarre. And speaking of being sober and impaired, more and more people are being arrested for sober DUIs. More and more. Even since I did the video that I did last on it. What I explained in the video was that radio frequency, ELF, all of this in the air, around you, saturating you, has an effect on your nervous system. when they do these eye tests and they do these field sobriety tests, like the teacher that was arrested for DUI going to school and he was totally sober. People cannot pass these tests, and that's what's going on. These people will have their eyes, jumping up and down when they should be smoothly operating, and they're totally sober. That used to be a sign of being on drugs or being drunk, right? But not anymore. Normal people that used to have really good balance do not have the same balance because their inner ears and their sinus areas are being completely and totally affected and infected, because these frequencies also propagate the growth of certain bacteria and certain fungus. People really need to understand what's going on. That is a big deal. So it's going up and up and up, and the information is out there. Turn off the Wi-Fi at night. You're still going to get it. I mean, you can't get away from radio frequency, right? Even if you live in a Faraday cage, it doesn't stop ELF, but you can cut it down. If you use a wireless mouse, if you use a wireless keyboard, if you use Wi-Fi, if you use all this shit, shut it off at night, at least when you go to bed, and sleep like that so that your body can heal. And that's bringing me into something else. More and more people are being affected in their sleep. I talked to a relative recently, and he had to start taking something so that he could sleep through the night, because he's constantly having these really realistic dreams, right? And he can't just have an ordinary night's sleep. Now, what's weird about that is he's a really meat and potatoes guy, and I've never heard anything like that come from his mouth before. And then here he is talking about how he can't, have a normal night's sleep, and he just has these really vivid, messed up dreams that are realistic. And it's because people are being affected by this left and right. I'm going to link down below to the sober DUI and also the MIT video that I did before. So if you haven't seen those, check them out. Let's quickly talk about all this stuff that's been going on. If you go to like BitChute, or you go to Rumble, or you go to any of these and you watch these commercials that pop up, if you have an ad blocker and use it, shut it off for a little bit and check out what they're promoting. They're always promoting these generators, and that power's going to go out, and that our power grid is at risk, and all this, If you remember January 3rd, 2023, that's when they first really started talking about this kind of stuff. And 2 men were arrested for allegedly, it even says that in the news article, sabotaging 4 Washington state power substations on Christmas, right? And they say that the guy was arrested with an illegal gun and all this stuff. They're putting this in people's minds. They're making people worry about the power grid. Now, this brings me back to a couple things I want to talk about. If something happens to the power grid, like what happened to the East Coast and the Midwest in 2003, when the power went out, it's going to be totally intentional. That was a test. And if they want to shut shit down, that's going to be the easiest way to do it. Whoever their enemy is going to take out the power, and it's going to go down like that. I mean, it's so simple, because they've been hyping it up to people. They're talking about it all the time. They're talking about how the power grid is at risk and all this shit. And it is. Everything is at risk. Everything is at risk all the time. You walk out of your house, it's a risk. If I walk out of my house right now, I could get hit by a truck. If I walk out of my house right now, I could get hit by lightning. I could get bit by a dog. Come on, man. It is total and complete paranoia they are instilling in people. Some terrorist, whoever the enemy is going to hit the power grid. When I would talk about the power grid and how signals can ride on the power grid and into the home, they were trying to allude to that in the comments in my videos and online. Just like I said in the beginning, that my information was being skewed and messed with. They were saying that, if we took out the power grid, these signals couldn't ride on it, right? And then you had people coming to the channel and actually saying, well, I had the power go out and I still had this stuff going on. See how the information is being skewed? Let me explain something to you. The power does not need to be on for something to operate as an antenna. It is operating as an antenna. just like when the Russian woodpecker was pumping out these signals, it was jumping onto the power grid, not the grid itself and not the power itself. It was jumping onto the power lines because they operate like an antenna. The power could be on or the power could be off, and it would pulse through the grid and come right up into your house and right through your electronics. And that's how it works. It doesn't matter whether the power is on or whether the power is off, but they wanted to pretend like I was talking like if we took out the power grid, you know, everything would be cool. And that's not at all what I was saying. I was saying that it jumps on either way. Power can be on, power can be off. And what proves that is the fact that they changed light bulbs. They didn't change light bulbs because they wanted you to save power. You know, that's cheaper for you. They don't give a shit about that. They don't give a shit about it. They changed light bulbs to these LEDs and other light bulbs because they put out RF. They put out RF energy. They can be used for lots of different nefarious things. A. B, another reason why they wanted to change bulbs is because the classic bulb, the classic incandescent light bulb, cannot handle the pulsing on the power grid, and it blows out really fast. And if everybody noticed this pulsing on the power grid and their light bulbs blowing out every 2 or 3 weeks, they would be saying, what the fuck? The entire nation would be saying that. So they switched everybody over, and no one really noticed it when they did. You know, when everybody fell into that and bought into it, when they had that type of lighting for years, they just didn't tell you about it. When they needed it, they pulled it out. It's just how it rolls. I have to buy old school incandescent light bulbs, and they go out sometimes after 2 days, sometimes after a week, sometimes after 3 weeks, and I have to go buy another one. They just pop. I have used them in my bathroom, and I was shaving. I had an incandescent bulb over me, right? And I was shaving at the sink late at night, and the light bulb literally blew up, and the glass came down on me. I had no idea what was going on. I ducked out and then came back in the room and then found the glass everywhere around. And that's not the only time it's happened. I've had light bulbs blow up in my living room. Just blow up, full on blow up. So I texted my dad back then, and I asked him, I said, hey, have you ever heard of a light bulb flat out blowing up? And he never had. And this guy had been around the planet for a long time, you know. And he was very schooled in things. He had seen a lot of things. He had been around. He had never heard of a light bulb just blowing up. And they started doing that when this pulsing began to happen on the power grid. It's just a fact. So you got this pulsing, you got all this going on, and then now they're talking about the power grid is at risk. You know, some terrorist is going to hit the power grid. You know, it's all fear, fear, fear. Now, speaking of fear, I want to go into the I-75 guy. There's a high likelihood that this guy was driven a little batty with some help, right? I want to talk about how weird it is that this guy, he goes and allegedly, I don't know this as fact yet, and I'm still trying to put it together. And I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't read into it that much. But from what I heard, he goes and buys an AR rifle, right? Always an AR, every time. Like, there are a million different guns you can buy, but he buys an AR and like 1,000 rounds, right? And then unloads them at people driving down the freeway. And from what I understand, he drops the gun, that gun and all the rounds, and then disappears into the woods where they can't find him. If he's going to kill himself, why would he do that? Because they're saying that he was going to go in, take out a bunch of people, and then take himself out, right? Why would he leave the gun for them to find? Just so they knew what kind of, it was like a calling card, just so they knew what kind of rifle he had and all the ammo. And then he runs into the woods where he can't use it to hunt or survive, you know? And how's he going to take himself out? Don't you think he would have taken the weapon with him, right? This is another weird one. and we're going to have to wait for it to come out. I was talking about this the other day with someone, and I said that he will be found in water or somewhere completely and totally skeletonized, decomposed, right? Just like Brian Laundrie. Because I'm telling you, I was the only person that got it right. While Dog the Bounty Hunter was down there looking for Brian Laundrie, and all these idiots were hunting, you know, the Appalachian Trail and all this shit, I said he was either being driven crazy or that he was already dead, and they were going to find him in a place that they have searched over and over. And that's exactly what they did. They found him in a place where they searched over and over. I'll play you the old clip. Okay, as some of you know, that not only was Gabby Petito having some emotional issues, you can tell by the video, but also Brian Laundrie had been hearing voices. Yep. Every one of these cases that makes the news, someone's always hearing voices and they bury it. Because have you heard about it? Absolutely not. Because they know that the more this gets out, you know, Joe Sixpack is going to be scratching his head going, why are all these people just hearing voices? There's only so much that they can normalize it. So either he's dead and they're going to find him in like a place that they've searched a million times. In my opinion, that's a pretty high possibility that he's going to turn up dead in some place that they've already searched over and over. If you can, make a donation. And I need to get in and fix my website soon. It keeps getting messed with. The SSL certificates get broken, right? And then it comes up as this website is unsafe because it doesn't have the little lock on it. So every time I fix it, I get on, I talk to the tech people. They go in and fix it because every time I fix it myself, it breaks. They go in and fix it. And within a few days, it's broke again. So something's up with that. I'm going to rebuild it and do some things, make some changes. I find it very strange that mine is the only website where the SSL certificates break every 5 days after getting it fixed. But that's it for now. Look out for Charlie.
You've been on a plane, find yourself looking down at the armrest next to you, looking at the little plug where the ashtray used to go. I look at that and I say, what the hell happened in this country?
Manny State. I see a kid with a bicycle helmet on. I want to smack the shit out of him, like for his own good.
Look out for Charlie.